everybody. Thanks for the introduction, Alan. My name is Luca Pradovera, and I've been running MojoLingo for almost 2 years now. Most of you people know Ben Klang, my former business partner and good friend, and I'm shorter and don't wear hats, so that's the difference. What do? We build real-time applications. We have offices. Our main office is in Atlanta, and we have one in Italy, near Milan. And we're the maintainers of the Ruby framework edition, which is a Ruby telephony framework, which will but not be featured in this presentation, which I know it's interesting. But we've been doing other things with other platforms, and I want you to know what we're doing. So Edition is great, use it. And we build IVRs, dialers, WebRTC, mobile apps, and we built a lot of other weird stuff lately, WebRTC document streaming solutions, and many other things. So, because what I want to talk about is all the presentations we've seen so far, most of them were from the technology side of the spectrum. So carriers and platforms, and we live downstream from that. We live between your customers and your platforms and solutions and applications. And we help them leverage the various platforms in the best way. Also was thinking about this, we've been having a lot of work on customer experience and customer service over the last few months. So my idea was to show you what we encountered and we decided to do. First of all, some numbers. 76% of businesses are rated according to customer service. That is the single most important metric customers use to rate a business. It's above price and above quality of materials. 59% of bad customer experiences are shared online, so people will know that you did not do well. People will know that you did not replace that part, will know that you sold them something they didn't need. And 75%, which is interesting because most people in this room will never have said that. I bet on that. 75% of people think a phone call is the best way to get information when acting on a purchase decision, which means I'm looking at something I want to buy. I just need to know if if it fits my use case, I need it, I want it. What do? A phone call is surprisingly, it surprised me when I first read this report, the best ways to still act on almost impulse buy. So I'm about to buy something. Let me know if it's right for me. So as a result of the above metrics, $62 billion are estimated to be lost yearly exclusively as a result of bad customer service. We are technology people, so we solve problems through the tools we know, and if you don't know them, we invent new tools. But essentially, we look at problems from a quantitative standpoint. So how do we help people with this problem, people as in companies, through the tools we know? So we're going back to the phone call. People are about to buy something. They need to know something. They give us a phone call. The phone call problem, we get a phone call. That's the most common phone call you get. Probably not even a caller ID. If you have a caller ID, which is not granted by far, it might be a number you don't know, or a spoofed caller ID, or who knows, whatever. It's completely unreliable. In case it's a legit phone call, you still spend a lot of time figuring out the context. Hello, my name is Luke, and I'm calling about that drone part I would like to buy. Yes, what part is it? It's part XYZ 123. Oh, yes, we don't have that in stock, blah, blah. All things that you should have known by the time you picked that phone up. So, what's contextual communications? It means to leverage analytics and data to provide a better service to your customers. Essentially, we wrap a normal communication channel, such as a phone call, in an information layer. We get everything we can possibly know about that person, the context, and the market, and use it to provide information to our sales agent when the call comes in. It's not limited to just phone calls for sales calls, but you could use that for operating modes too. One example people always make is something like if your phone is lying flat on the table and you start a call, it will automatically trigger hands-free mode for some reasons. That could be another good way to give an example of contextual communications. But we're going to focus on the sales process. So people are calling in because they want to buy something, which, as we found out, is more important than many other processes people are spending money on. How do we know more about the person that is calling us to buy something. There are three main sources of knowledge: virtual, physical, and data. So what does this mean? Virtual context. We know what a person has seen. If it's a e-commerce website, they've probably gone through some pages and looked at different articles. They look at the brown sweater, then a blue sweater. They probably want a sweater. Actions they made on a mobile app, which is even more interesting because a mobile app can collect more information, but there's more on that later. And as such, they might have navigated some kind of a shop on a mobile app, or they might be, in case it's some kind of an application tied to, say, insurance, they might have gone through some steps. So they might have been checking what their policy is. So you might know this person is in some kind of trouble related to one of their insurance policies. Or simply phone call history if you have access to that. We have platforms, so we know this person has called before, calls were pretty long. This person is probably a good customer or a bad customer. Either it's not a median customer if all the calls are pretty long. It's either someone that's buying stuff or someone that's annoying you. Analytics. Outside of what the user has directly done with us, we know what their demographics usually does. So we know that someone that's young is going to be more interested in a certain type of merchandise. So we can infer that they might be interested in some other types of merchandise that's done as an upselling. If it's a phone call, we can do sentiment analysis. We know that this person is happy or unhappy even before they get to the agent because we've done sentiment analysis on their interaction with our automated IVR. So this person has a tone of voice that doesn't indicate good things. So it's better to route them to one of the agents that are better at dealing with disgruntled customers. And you know that, and you save time on that, and you don't route that call to someone that's not going to be able to handle it. Then it's, of course, classifiers and correlations. This is what comes into play when doing sales or upselling. So this person has looked at these three different types of merchandise. What else can we offer them, or what's going to be more interesting for them? Of course, we have the physical context, which is more and more common. As you know, that's not in the slides, but it's more than 70% of mobile web traffic now comes through mobile in some situations. So we know where the person is for the most part, especially if they're using an app. We know what the phone has been doing. Accelerometers don't really come into play in a sales process unless this person is so angry that they're actually shaking. But we hope that's not our case, but otherwise we won't know. Still, we could know if they're shaking while they're calling for some reason. Maybe they're cold, who knows. We have cameras and microphones we can activate in various control situations, so we won't just turn the camera on and look at the person until we could if it's an app. And all of that can be put together for analyzing the situation a person is in. So let's look at some possible scenarios. The first idea I had, which we've been discussing with a local insurance company, is the user has a car problem and opens up the car service app or some kind of a, this could be either for insurance or from the car manufacturer side of things. So BMW gives you an app, you open that up, and the app knows where you are, what happened to the car, probably through Bluetooth, because it's some kind of diagnostics could be transmitted through Bluetooth. They know what the problem is. They even know what the weather is for the call. So when the call is picked up, the agent on the other side effectively knows how to solve your problem. You literally don't have to speak to them. You just have to confirm that what they say is correct. So as a result of all this information, we end up with this. Hello, I can see your radiator has a leak. It's not safe to drive the car even for short distances. This is important to tell to your user so they don't wreck the car completely. And it is going to rain shortly. Remember, location and weather. We know it's going to rain, so this guy probably wants to stay in the car. There's a gas station 5 kilometers down the road with one of our repair shops. Would you like me to send help? All the caller has to do is say yes. And then they'll spend the next 10 minutes while the repairman actually comes wondering how the heck that happened. Like, it's almost scary when you think about it, but we can get this kind of response from literally most apps that we have. We know this. We know all of that. Maybe not the exit car problem. So if it's an application that has the ability to connect to the car through Bluetooth, it's able to get some of the diagnostics, not the detailed stuff, but the macro. Essentially, you can know what's on the dashboard. So if one of those lights is actually on, the app knows. So you're missing oil or radiator problems. Something else, which applies to me because I like drones, and I've been experimenting with drones, and I'm very bad at drones, and I've wrecked a couple already in unrecoverable ways. And so this person is browsing an e-commerce website, specialized shops such as drone hardware shop. This guy has bought a drone before, an entry-level drone, and is now browsing through racing drone parts because he obviously wants to throw away a few $100s into something that will wreck in 10 minutes, but whatever. This person has an history of low-cost purchases. We know how old he is. He's already bought something from us. We know everything from him. And when he's ready to pull the trigger and buy something, he will give us a phone call, provided we give them the right way to do so. That's why it's important to leverage any and all or other platforms that we talk about here and the one I'm going to talk about later to give the user the ability to make a phone call as close as the sales process as possible. So call us from the web page. Even call back, put in the number and call them. It's easy to do for us. Companies that are not doing this are skimping on sales. They're skimping on billions of sales. They're literally wasting money. The result could be, hello, our recommendation is to start racing by buying some parts for the drone you already own. Remember, we know what he has. It's better to experiment with and choose the style you prefer before you commit to something that's going to cost you money and you're probably going to destroy anyways. Alternative, this and that model is a very good entry-level racing drone, and I can get you a discount coupon too. Remember, this guy tends to buy low-priced stuff, so we can give them a small discount and put them into sales mode. Yeah, I know. I'd like to buy this. It's cool. And all of this is easy to do for us. And as an industry, we're not pushing enough for a resurgence of voice communication, especially in e-commerce. The e-commerce industry is leaving money on the table by not doing this. And we are too, because it's something which just not enough people are doing. And it's not complicated, honestly, from a technical point of view. It gets even better when we branch out into multi-channel communication. So chatbots and messaging and textual communication and automatic communication. You can focus on the customer experience more and better. This person could be asking the same questions to a chatbot that is trained to answer in the same way. You have even better context if you're doing multiple channels, because if you only have phones, you only know about the phone history. If this person also has to use messaging, you can do textual analysis on their messaging and see what their more interesting topic is, so you can steer them towards something that will make sense for you and for them. Translate extremely well to chatbot. This is something I really want to stress. This kind of contextual communication, on some level, is actually better when done by a machine, because a machine will be able to I'll speed up. A machine will be able to instantly make correlations and make recommendations that will be even better than what a human agent can do. So you show the data to a human agent, they will have to think about it. The bot already knows because they have classifiers and whatnot. Of course, this requires a modern application platform. So how do we do that? In our particular case, we picked Cloud Onyx. This is a small newer offering in the CPaaS field built by our good friends at Greenfield, which are not here but today, but I'll be representing them. And Cloud Onyx is a platform that is a carrier-grade switching platform. It's got a RESTful API you can bring your own connectivity for, and it's got a very good desktop and mobile SDK, which you use to build applications that do what I detailed before. So a phone call has custom SIP headers that contain GPS information and other stuff that you might want to know. So why did we pick them? You can have the platform and you can have it on premises. The pricing model is interesting because it's based only on concurrent calls, and there's no other metrics. So you can use it as much as you want, as long as there's less channels than X, where X is the license you bought for. You can bring your own connectivity, which is attractive for us because we use a couple providers and we'd like to stay with them, generally speaking, when building. It's not something I'm really ready to do, managing 10 DID providers in as many projects. They have a very good mobile SDK. We have a very close technical relationship. Again, this might not apply to you, but it's what we have. And they got very good IPv6 support. What we will be building is mobile support app. Again, custom SIP headers contain the contextual information, and the REST API allows for call manipulation through an existing web platform the customer already has. This is one project we're building. And we've helped build a leading USA-based retail corporation, I cannot name, but it's obvious who they are using Cloud Onyx to power their internal support through a mobile app that connects to the main PBX and Exchange. This is more about scale than functionality, if I have to be honest. It's just a lot of devices that are not doing anything special other than working on an internal network, calling each other, and sharing some context. I'm sorry I ran out of time, but my name is Luca again, and if you need to ask me questions, I'm here, or I'll be here later.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Luca. A round of applause, please.
Thank you, guys.